This is the second part of our drawing exercise on 3 eggs in 5 values. So this video follows the last one. So remember I had suggested creating a 5-value chart with the pencil techniques for each value. And I said that there's an image of one by Angela on the blog. Okay, I just want to go over that briefly first. So if your value is 0, which is the highlight, okay, that's going to be the white of the paper. If the value is 1, you're going to use the parallel diagonal lines and a B pencil. If the value is 2, you're going to again use parallel diagonal lines with the HB pencil. And if the value is 3, you can use the cross contours, which are the curved ones, and that is 2B. And if you are doing value 4, again, that's the cross hatching or a cross contour cross hatching. And then if you're doing value 5, which is the darkest value, you're doing the cross hatching with the little C's or little circles, and that's 6B pencil. Okay. Remember that value 4 and value 5 are on the shadow side of the object. Okay. And then 3, 2, 1, 0 are on the light side of the object. Okay. All right. Now let's look at our drawing. There's a couple things that I observe that may be beneficial to you that will help you with your drawing. One thing I notice is that the cast shadows change shape depending on the shape of the egg, the direction that it's facing, and how far it is away from the light source. Now, let's look at my drawing here. This egg to the right is closer to the light source, and it's also pointed towards me 3/4. So what you'll notice is that this shadow is closer to the egg. It's wider because that point is coming towards me. The egg is foreshortened. Okay, see how that cast shadow differs? Here, this egg is about, 50-50 lit. The shadow is narrow, but longer than the first one. Okay, and we're looking at this egg from the side view. So that's why it's narrow. And this egg, it's slightly turned towards me, so the shadow's a little bit wider, but it's also longer than this one because it's further away from the light source. Okay. Now, in regard to the form shadows, which are these, form shadows are on the object itself, here are some things that I noticed. I noticed that as the egg on the shadow side is turning up toward the ceiling, it's getting darker. And as it's turning down towards the table, it's getting lighter. Okay. I also noticed that the shape of the shadow in the middle of the egg, where there's a point that's the closest to us, because the egg, remember, is a sphere and it's coming around. There's a point that's closer. You'll notice that the values are more diffuse in that area. It's much harder to distinguish between the reflected light, the shadow edge, and going into the halftones, right? But then when I look at each end, here and here, it gets a little more distinct, right? A little bit sharper. I can see that shadow edge more, okay? And there's less value range in there. Same up here too. A little more distinct transition, okay? I also noticed that in regard to the shadow edge, it's much wider up here, and then it's much narrower down in here. Okay. Now, in regards to the light side, let's think about the light side. Now, in the middle of the egg, like I said, even on the light side, you can start to see a lot of values in here, a lot of transition. We're going from a little bit of 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, so this is very soft, a lot of values. And then at either end, again, there are less values and a more abrupt transition to value 0. Okay, and talking about value 0, remember when we had worked on those black objects during the mass drawing exercise and project? We could really see an image of the light source on our object. Now these eggs are white, and they're also pitted. They're very porous, so they're not shiny at all. And what you're going to realize when you're looking at your egg on the light side, you can't pinpoint exactly where that highlight is. And because the egg has a lot of little these pores, a lot of bumps, it disperses the light more evenly across the light side. Okay, so you're not going to see those little boxes like we made on the sphere, which was shiny plastic, and we could see our light source. This is going to be diffuse, and there's going to be this larger 0 area, especially the egg that's closest to the light source, larger 0 value. Okay? Now, one of the things I want to talk about is in order to make that 0 value stand out, I'm manipulating the background, just like we did in our mass drawing project. Okay? So I'm using my B pencil first, parallel diagonal lines. They're all the same. They're all going the same direction all the way across. B pencil. Now I want it to get a little bit darker where it's really white here. I started going in with my 2B pencil. Okay, this is my 2B. All right, and darkening it a little bit closer to that white area. Okay. In regard to this egg, you'll notice I didn't add a tone in the background here. I allowed the white of this egg to sort of blend in with the white of the background because this is my really blasted out egg. It's the one that's closest to the light source. All right. And the other thing I want to talk about is edges. When I refer to edges, it's sort of the outline, right, or the shape of your shadows. Now, an egg is basically a sphere, except it's an oblong sphere, all right? So that every edge is turning away from you. There's constant turning away, no matter what direction we're looking at this egg. So there should really be no hard edges. And the technique that I used, every time I wanted to soften an edge, I use that unified tone. I start making my little C's and little circles to blend stuff together. If I find something's too sharp, I'll go in with my unified tone and add the circles to create a softer appearance. So I don't want you outside of your eggs all hardly drawn and then you're just filling it in like a coloring book. No, we want nice soft edges. They can be dark like this one, or they can be light like this one. But your line, you shouldn't have a consistent line all the way around. All right, I made it a little sharper here maybe, and maybe right here, but that's it. The rest is pretty diffuse. Okay, so in regard to sessions, we usually spend 3 sessions on every project. This is session number 2, all right? So I want you to be conscious that we are approaching the deadline for this project. Okay, if you have any questions, email me and I'll be happy to look at your drawings in progress.